welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Saeed. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight, Trinidad and Tobago. So here it is, Trinidad. We at Real Talk Financing, we are offering you 7% on a fixed deposit, remember that. So for those of you who would like to gain more money, more interest on your fixed deposit, contact me at 339-1670 Trinidad and Tobago. We are the only financial institution in this country that is creating history in the financial industry in this country. We are the only one that is doing it. And remember that it is 7%. You can't get it better than that, viewers. You can't. So as we start off our program tonight, the Water and Storage Authority, WASA, has secured a court of appeal victory against Bankers Insurance Company Limited in a dispute over a $2.5 million performance bond linked to the failed San Fernando East Trunk Sewer Project. The dispute arose from a $25.4 million sewer rehabilitation contract awarded in 2012. The contractor failed to complete the works within the required 180-day period and remained in default months after the deadline. Bankers Insurance argued that WASA had failed to establish when the contract began and maintain that performance bond covered only obligations arising under the tender documents. Viewers, however, the Court of Appeal rejected those arguments, agreeing with submissions by WASA's lead counsel, Anna Ramlogan SC. Bankers Insurance was ordered to pay WASA $2.5 million along with interest and legal costs. So Trinidad and Tobago, you see, when you hear you're doing contracts, and you hear problems start to arise, it is be a serious thing. The Southwestern Division is reporting a 10% reduction in violent crime, alongside a 52% detection rate of serious crime as police intensify investigations, lead operation, and crime fighting efforts. So Trinidad and Tobago, this is coming from the Southern Division. Assistant Superintendent Joel Forbes stated that the decrease in violent crime and the detection rate of over 50% of serious crime are the result of multi-layered and intelligence-driven approach and policing. Trying to make you listen to this.
Analysis of the crime statistics for the period June to July 2026 indicates a 10% reduction in violent crime when compared with the comparative period of 2025. The division achieved a 52% serious crime detection rate, reflecting a continued commitment to investigations and all investigators and other operational units in this space to bring and solve major crimes in the division.
So Trinidad and Tobago, we want to thank the Southern Division for the intensify intelligence-led operation that is taking place in the Southern District. We want to thank the hard-working officers. We want to thank the superintendent. We want to thank the assistant superintendent. We want to thank the officers who are collecting information, intelligence base. We want to thank the officers on the ground who are actually going out and putting their lives at risk. You know, we want to thank everybody, all the police officers who is coming together and making South a safer place. Trying to make, I always say, give Jack where the jacket is. Also, viewers, he said, despite a reduction in overall violent crime, the division recorded increase in both wounding and homicide. So listen to this now.
With 22 incidents being reported for the period under review, and 20 with a comparative look at the previous year of 20 incidents of 20. Similarly, homicides have increased from 18 in 2025 to 21 in 2026. Analysis indicates that 18% of these homicides are gang-related, while the division achieved a 29% detection rate for homicides under review for this period.
So now, viewers, with firearms continuing to be the weapon of choice in many violent offenses, ASP Forbes said the division has intensified its effort, resulting in the seizure of 49 firearms so far for this year. The division also secured 49 PDOs, 26 of which were executed, leading to 18 people being arrested and charged. Now, additionally, 641 warrants have been executed for 2026. ASP Forbes said the division efforts have remained active in the recent days.
Notably, over the past 3 days, a coordinated operation with a number of units within the Southwestern Division have resulted in execution of 104 warrants, with a significant number of persons arrested during that period.
So now, viewers, he said, through intelligence-led operation, visible police or visible patrol and strong community partnership for crime prevention, the division is enhancing its operational response. Forbes said, the coastline is being monitored by police along with members of the Defense Force after bodies of 6-year-old Brittany and Edwin, both believed to be Venezuelan nationals, washed ashore at Los Hero Beach in Erie.
We have been able to do, with law enforcement, with the assistance of the Defense Force personnel, we have been able to secure those borders. We are the police, we are willing, and we have been working assiduously to prevent future incidents like this from happening.
So, viewers, the Coast Guard have stepped up in the coastal patrol. We do want to thank the Coast Guard for stepping up in a matter of keeping unwanted nationals or drug smugglers or contraband transporters from bringing in illegal stuff into Trinidad and Tobago. So we really do want to thank the Coast Guard that are patrolling the southern part of Trinidad and Tobago and the coastline. I understand that they are working very hard. They are trying to put in the hours to make sure Trinidad and Tobago is safe on the southern department. So we want to thank all the officers involved, all the stations in South, all the operational officers, especially the Coast Guard, Trinidad and Tobago. So as we move on tonight, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar have stated that her government remains committed to strengthening the Trinidad and Tobago prison service as part of its broader effort to improve national security. In a statement, the PM noted that the Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander, and Minister of Justice, Davish Maharaj, visited the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service Training Academy at the Golden Grove Prison Complex in Aruca on Wednesday and met with the first batch of recruits as training began. She said the first intake had been planned for 250 recruits, with 226 trainees reporting for their first day of training. The PM noted that those entering the service had chosen a career of service, discipline, and responsibility. The recruitment effort will continue with a second intake scheduled to begin orientation on August 24th and training on September 1st. She said the initiative formed part of the government's commitment to national security. So viewers, we want to congratulate the 250 individuals who sat the exam. We want to congratulate them. Also, we want to congratulate the 226 trainees who reported for training on the first day of work, I should say. We want to congratulate them. My advice, keep on a straight road. It might be a little bumpy. You might get a little rough in between, but stay on the straight path. It will benefit you. It will benefit you. So, moving into some other news now, Trinidad and Tobago. The Minister of Trade, Investment and Tourism, Satyakama Maharaj, have stated that government is working to fully revitalize the local steel industry and attract international investors. Maharaj stated that there are efforts underway to attract international investment to Trinidad and Tobago. He signaled out one project revealing that international investors have shown keen interest in Trinidad and Tobago steel plant. Listen to this.
Canadian firm, and they're ready to sign. I think they're here in Trinidad right now. And we just signed an MOU. That's a 50 million US investment that will go to 150 million US investment.
So viewers, the Trade Minister said one of the largest contributors to the local economy outside of the energy sector was a steel plant in Point Lisas. He added that the plant has been shut down for the last 10 years. The minister indicated that scrap removal was not the only area that would benefit from the reopening of the plant. Listen to this.
The old Scott Ispat plant, because it has a melt shop, after over 100 years of industrialization, you know this country have more than almost any country in the region, or in fact the world. We have scrap coming out of our ears. They will buy every pound of scrap that we have. Do you know we produce 1.1 million tires every year discarded? They're buying all the tires too. So they clean up the country. They're buying all the scrap.
So viewers, he further highlighted that initiatives built on the momentum generated by recent signed agreement. One more time.
Also signed the MOU with the Americans for the reopening of the steel plant. That's a major achievement because that will give us about 1.5 billion US a year in exports for the steel. Because right now, Nucor alone is the second largest non-oil exporter, 8 times more than the third place.
So viewers, $1.5 billion US a year in export for steel. When last we heard Trinidad and Tobago made US currency? From an agreement. When last? So I just want to tell Trinidad and Tobago, thus far viewers, the present government has put in place the refinery. They have put things in place to open back the refinery in Trinidad and Tobago. They are putting things in place for a data center in Trinidad and Tobago, $5 billion US. And they are also now signing MOUs to bring back the steel plant functional in Trinidad and Tobago with an intake of 1.5 billion US dollars in export a year from steel. Imagine that. Imagine that. 1 year in office. So while I'm saying that, I will say this. All I know, I ain't choosing no political side. I like to be fair across the table, right? So look at this. 1 year in office, and the UNC administration is signing MOUs for the refinery, for a data center, and the steel plant. And the steel plant. 3 major initiatives, 3 major goals that would create thousands of jobs for Trinidad and Tobago, and millions of US currency will be coming in to our economy. It sounds positive. I want to say it sounds positive. But let's just wait. I don't rush. Let's just wait and see what will take place in the next 6 months from today. And we're going to know which one falls through the crack and which one is going to be up and operational. So I'm not rushing. This is news to Trinidad and Tobago. This is investments. This is millions of US currency coming into the economy. So the economy will generate US currency and it will stable our economy. So I am saying in 6 months' time, let's see the progress of the MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding, all these agreements. Let us see where it will take us in the next 6 months. So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Imbert. TNT at risk of rating downgrade. More when we return.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
True growth shouldn't make you wait. This month, Real Talk Financing is changing the timeline. Get up to 7% interest on a fixed deposit paid to you upfront. Real Talk Financing and Investment. Real results sooner. Call our Central or South branches today.
Connect with us on social media and don't miss the latest updates. Follow us on Instagram at RealTalk_Newsroom. Check us out on Facebook at Real Talk with Saieed Ali. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Real Talk Trinidad and TikTok at Real Talk with Saieed Ali. At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the blaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concerns. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago, before we go any further, today is the birthday of a very, very close and good friend of mine. We know him as Mr. Jadu. When he comes to Real Talk to keep a singing or we having a little party or anything, I always introduce him as Jadu in the Kalalu. So tonight, from the Real Talk group of companies, we want to extend a happy and joyous happy birthday to Mr. Jadu. So tonight, after the show, we have a little get together with the friends and family. But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, tonight is celebrating an individual who I side could lean on. I could lean on him. He's a good friend. He has been good to me, a very dear friend, I should say, and he has been very, very good to me. He entered chutney competition a good few times. He also sings classical. He has a band also, and he's just doing it in Trinidad and Tobago, viewers, making people happy when they go to a birthday party, when they go to a chutney. Sometimes they have a little small thing, spread pal, they want to invite him. Shall come down and sing something, let us sing and dance and enjoy. So viewers, from the Real Talk group of company, I want to wish a dear friend of mine happy birthday. So as we come back into our news tonight, viewers, former Finance Minister Clongen Bird has warned that Trinidad and Tobago faces a growing risk of a credit rating downgrade, arguing that the government is downplaying concerns raised by Standard & Poor's, S&P, and are failing to address the deeper weakness in the economy. Imbert said the country's latest sovereign credit assessment should serve as a warning rather than a victory lap. He noted that international credit rating are essential whenever governments borrows on international markets, citing the US $1 billion loan secured earlier this year and the recent $800 million US bond issue. Now, he said, while Standard & Poor's reaffirmed Trinidad and Tobago investment grade as a BBB, a triple B, rating on July 22nd, the agency also maintained a negative outlook and warned there is a 1 in 3 chance of a downgrade over the next 12 months if public finance are not strengthened. Listen to this.
Negative outlook reflects the possibility of a downgrade absent meaningful and timely steps to strengthen public finances, ensure balanced economic growth, and maintain the country's strong external profile. But S&P went on to say more. They say there's a 1 in 3 chance that we'll have a downgrade over the next 12 months. That will send us into what is called junk status. And they went on to say the country's long-term growth has been slow, while fiscal and external buffers have weakened.
So Trinidad and Tobago, tonight I want to say, at one point in time, Clongenberg said to us in the parliament that we don't need S&P. I don't know if I can remember that. I was looking back for the video. We don't need S&P. And keep in mind that Clongenberg always used to say, we are in a boom. We are experiencing a boom, Madam Speaker. The boom we was experiencing was a drop in the economy. You see, now Clongenberg would come out and read the second part of S&P. But when he was the Minister of Finance, you know, he wouldn't read that part. He would not read that part. I want you to keep in mind, when Clongenberg exited office, when the PNM lost the general election, Clongenberg came out and told Trinidad and Tobago that the UNC administration had no money to run Trinidad and Tobago. So ask yourself, all governments come and go. They depend on the Treasury to govern Trinidad and Tobago for the next 5 years. Good? Nice. So when Clongenberg now left office, he said, this administration, which is the UNC, has no money to govern Trinidad and Tobago. So what does that tell me? Clongenberg left the Treasury without a groat. That is what it told me. I don't know why it's telling all here, you know, but I'm reminding you all. This government has no money to run the country. So when he said that, I asked Colin on national television, so if the PNM did win the general election in 2025, how were they going to manage the country in the next 5 years coming? How are they going to manage it? Pay bills. All I remember the time when Keith Rowley said the country only had money for 3 days. All I remember that time, and out of that 3 days, boom, shot the Bible painted for $3 million. But the country had money for 3 days. All I remember that? If you didn't remember that, I am here to remind you. So you see, when you're calling me outside to talk, I don't want to hear nothing from him. Absolutely nothing. You all mightn't like that. Trinidad and Tobago may not want to hear what Saieed's saying. But I want you to keep in mind, this is the same man who said, we are in a boom. I want you to remind that. Caller, good night.
Good night, Saieed. I agree 100% with what you're saying, sir. That is the hypocrisy of the PNM, you know. They must know what they left, you know, they leave the treasury empty because of, you know, whatever buildings they put up and all these fraud with the contractors and and all these people. Now, a matter of concern, you have a former prime minister coming out and say, end the SOE. Is it that he's said that crime is down by 50% or how much ever it is down? Why is it, sir, that you want the SOE to end? Is it because you want to make the government look bad? I wouldn't be surprised to know that, you know, that they are actively participating in activity to disrupt. We are a peaceful nation, and if they cannot manage the country, that is why the people put them aside, and they should remain aside because the government is doing a great job. Look at the initiatives, sir. How much young recruits the prison officers this government has recruited. Look, they have pardoned about 100 and something prisoners. That is less expense for the state. Try to reintegrate them into society. This is the good work that the government is doing. And you have a government only coming and criticize. You have Penny Beckles coming out and say, she wants answer for this, she wants answer for that. But when you was in government, you have no answer. That I'm saying again, sir. That is the hypocrisy of the PNM. And I cannot understand for a minute how their supporters are following that. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, my friend. So Trinidad and Tobago, Imbud also rejected the Minister of Finance position that the country's economic challenges were inherited from the previous administration, which is the PNM. But Clongenberg, you come out and said this government had no money. So when you come out and say the government have no money, which means the Treasury have no money. If that is what you're implying, it don't have any. So when Keith Rowley said that Trinidad and Tobago had money for 3 days in the treasury, and out of that 3 days, a $3 million painting were bought. Was it necessary? I'm just saying what Keith Rowley said, you know. That is all. Now, he's insisting that the rating agency report does not support the conclusion. Now, citing and findings, he said, TNT is not in a good place. Listen to him.
Have you heard any of those loudmouth economists at UWI talk about this? That S&P is predicting that the economy will contract in 2026, confirming it contracted in 2025, confirming that there's a possibility of a downgrade coming because of the economic mismanagement of this government? It's a rhetorical question. The answer is no. So I am urging everyone, grow a backbone, grow a conscience, do honest analysis. Let the country know what is really going on with our economy, because we are not in a good place.
So Trinidad and Tobago, Imbert is telling us to grow a backbone. Imbert is telling the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to grow a backbone. Growing a backbone? Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this video.
Madam Speaker, for over a decade, the property tax landscape in our nation has been shaped by outdated policies and practices. In 2010, the land and building tax regime was suspended, exacerbating the challenges in securing adequate funding for essential services and development projects across central and local government alike. Recognizing the need for reform, our government embarked on a journey to modernize the tax system, culminating in the introduction of a new property tax regime, or the new property tax regime. In 2024, in the face of continuous misguided political resistance,
Colin Member telling us to grow a backbone, but when he was the Minister of Finance, new property tax scheme, we had to pay property tax. We have to pay property tax. Who have to pay that? The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But now he's telling us to grow a backbone. We tighten, we build so much under the PNM administration until it shatters our backbone. What's the next video we have? The 5,000 where he implement? Alright, so Trinidad and Tobago telling us to grow a backbone under his administration, new taxes in retail, man. Boom now, Clongenberg say, the country, we are in a boom. We growing, man. Money flowing. Boom shot, he come and tell Trinidad and Tobago, citizens, if you don't pay your property tax, you will be charged $5,000. Which will be a criminal offense. But now Clongenberg come to tell Saieed and the nation to grow a backbone. Keep in mind, Trinidad and Tobago, about a year before Clongenberg introduced property tax to Trinidad and Tobago, citizen taxes, about a year before, he brought out legislations and amendment. Individuals who have multi-story dwelling apartment would be exempted from paying taxes. I remember that? But today in Trinidad and Tobago, we the citizens have to grow our backbone. Now let's see why I don't want to hear about this man. Now I realize why I don't want to hear about him. Exempted himself from property tax. Pass it down to residential owners who took loan. Listen carefully, who took loan to build their house, paying a loan for 40 years. Now you have to pay property tax. While he exempted himself. And today he's coming to tell us to grow a backbone. When the backbone we had We tighten we belt so much until it shatter we bone. The man who said, don't eat egg, come and eat an egg now. Trinidad and Tobago, we good, you know. We real good. So listen this now, eh? Listen this now, eh? Turning to tax policies, Imbert criticized the government over confusion surrounding the taxation of corporate pension plan. Imbert argued that the legislation does not exempt every type of corporation pension arrangement, particularly employer fund corporate deferred annuity plan. Listen to Clark Imbert.
Sagico and other insurance companies were not were not exempting pension payments for deferred annuities, corporate deferred annuities, that he would read the law, try and understand, get some advice. But no. Instead, he says they're talking nonsense and all private pensions are now free from tax. That is simply not true, because the law makes it clear that these plans have to be purchased by the individuals and not the company. That's just another example of his incompetence.
How come Imbert never wanted to talk about CLICO? I just sure that so those who have ears would listen and understand. Trinidad and Tobago, we are going for a short commercial break. Stay locked on. When we come back, we're going to hear Beckel's question on government reliance on SOE. Stay locked on.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
True growth shouldn't make you wait. This month, Real Talk Financing is changing the timeline. Get up to 7% interest on a fixed deposit paid to you upfront. Real Talk Financing and Investment. Real results sooner. Call our Central or South branches today.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to Real Talk. I must remind you, Trinidad and Tobago, of the 7% that Real Talk Financing is offering you. I must remind you of that. We are creating history in Trinidad and Tobago. Real Talk Financing, just for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to benefit better. To benefit solid cash. 7,000 per month. 7,000 per year, my mistake. 7,000 per year and $100,000 invested in Real Talk. You're not getting that nowhere. Nowhere you're getting that. 5 years contract, 7%. And let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. You're on your road to victory with making money. We at Real Talk Financing are creating history in Trinidad and Tobago, so the citizens will benefit better. Also, I want to remind you, Real Talk Financing, we also offer loans to the public, as long as you have some form of collateral, house, land, vehicle, jewelry, gold, something that would be an asset to hold. So viewers, you're looking for a loan, small loan, contact me 339-1670 or 238-6716. Also, 242-9944. Tell them you want to be transferred to the loan department and they hook you up. Within 36 hours time, viewers, you could have access to solid cash in your hand. Remember that. Only at Real Talk Financing, we make it possible for you. So, Opposition Leader Penelope Beckles is questioning the government claim that it has evidence of a conspiracy to assassinate Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, saying, if evidence of such a serious crime exists, the matter should be tested before the courts. This, after a leaked audio tape went viral of an intercepted telephone conversation between the Hadids. Now, Beckles argued that authorities have claimed to possess intelligence linking individuals to serious criminal activity, yet have relied on the SOE and preventative detention orders instead of criminal prosecution. Listen to this.
So we were all awaiting very patiently as to what the court will say, because you must remember, and it links to my point, if you have evidence of a conspiracy to murder, you are simply going to use the state of emergency. I mean, for such a serious allegation, how is it that you haven't charged them? So you continuously use the state of emergency and the PDO. But if you have evidence of conspiracy to murder, conspiracy to assassinate, and it goes back to the point I made a while ago, the police has told us that there are several gangs, and they give you all the details of what it is they're involved in, all the wrongs that they are doing, but they are not being charged. So how long is this government going to use the state of emergency to fight crime?
So now, viewers, let me just remind you, Saieed Ali, the Attorney General, under the PNM administration, said they know how much gangs that have in Trinidad and Tobago. They know where the gangs are. They know how many members there are in gangs. But for 10 years, my mistake, 9 years, the PNM governed Trinidad and Tobago trying to eliminate gangs. How many were charged? How many gangs closed down? And that's the answer right there. Nobody was charged. No gangs dismantled, closed down, or shut down. Instead, Trinidad and Tobago members increased. Now, this is according to Saieed Ali. Imagine that, eh? Imagine that. But penny comes now to condemn our administration, who is only 1 year in office. But they ran Trinidad and Tobago for 9 years, and not one gang dismantled in Trinidad and Tobago. Not one. And under the commissioner back then, gangs were responsible for many killings, robbery, illegal firearm, and nothing has ever come out of it. Nothing. So when you hear Penny start to talk now, after being in years, 9 years in office, We just have to listen and ask Penny. So what did you do? What did you do about it for 9 years while you were there? Now you're out of office for 1 year, you're complaining. You see, Trinidad and Tobago, look at the facts. That is what you have to look at. We're not looking at the party, you know. You look at the facts for the last 9 years and the person in charge for 9 years, and then you will know how to address them. So listen to this. Bechel said the issue formed part of what she described as a broader effort by the government to divert attention from crime. Nothing also that after 15 months in office, I had yet to unveil a comprehensive crime plan. You should have asked Erla what she did. You should have asked Erla what she did. When Rastaman said it is not his job to make us feel safe, how did you feel when Fitzgerald Hines said that? Listen to this video.
Is that this whole issue with the state of the emergency and the PDO is all part of a distraction of the government. When you have no crime plan after 15 months and we still have a state of emergency, that is an indication that the government has failed as it relates to dealing with crime. So we are not going to get distracted. As I said, we have a legal team. They can make all the accusations we want. We are a proud party of 70 years, and we are going to be able to present to the court information to defend our position as it relates to Balisay House.
You see, viewers, after being there for 9 years and could have fixed Trinidad and Tobago crime rate, it's only when you come out of office and you look back, then you're realizing you could have, and you could have, and you could have, but now it's too late. You can't. And that is the problem we have today. They can't. Dr. Rowley was the head of the Security Council for Trinidad and Tobago. What happened? His minister told him, it is not my job to make them people feel safe. So whose job is it? Being the Minister of National Security, whose job is it? Let me use a little example. I am the director of RealTalk Financing. And my job in my company is to make sure that people get value. My job is to make sure that when we throw out a fixed deposit for the people, they get value better than any other financial institution. Part of my job being a director is to make sure that there's proper customer service in this company. When someone comes in with a complaint, I want to hear it for myself. I will come down from directorship and come and sit behind a desk to hear a complaint from a customer. That is me. You know why? I have an outstanding name in Trinidad and Tobago and on the wider world. So I want to make sure that RealTalk Financing, customer service must be 100. The offers we're throwing out to the public must be the best in the financial market. And today, that's what we stand for. And that is why RealTalk Financing is growing. And I can't hear nobody say nothing bad about RealTalk Financing because we're growing. We're going in a U.S. plata just now, I should say. U.S. currency. Imagine Trinidad and Tobago, they're fighting about to get a USD license. So a company could deal with U.S. currency. They're fighting down. But in Panama, all the documents have been submitted. All the documents have been approved by ministers. And I'm just waiting for my permit. That is all. So when you're fighting down here, in my own land, I'm making it in our next land. But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, sticking with the script. Beckles, she also expressed concerns over what she described as an attempt to inject race into the public discourse surrounding the leaked audio recording. Listen to this.
About Trinidad and Tobago being multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic. And that is something that we celebrate as a country. But from time to time, we admit that this issue of race can divide us. I mean, I am calling on the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago to recognize it doesn't help us as a country for us to put race in the forefront. We have a country to govern, and when you are leading, when you have the opportunity to lead, you have a choice to make, and your choice to make is if you want to fuel race or if you want to bring the country together.
So, Penny, since you want to talk about race, let me start with the attorney from the Beaton. Let me start with him. And they hate we, and they hate we, and they hate we. Who hate? Who hate? The people who has been clapping for this individual. Listen to me clearly, viewers. The people who were clapping for this individual when he bawling, they hate we here and they hate we there and they hate we there. When you shut down on the beat who come and rob you? Come, Penny, say something, now, man. This individual talking about they hate we here and they hate we there and they hate we so. But his party implemented property tax. And his party, who balling their hate we, and all these people clapping while he's saying that, they had to pay property tax, otherwise they would be charged $5,000 under his party as a criminal offense for not paying. But this gentleman here, Penny, this gentleman was sowing a seed of the hatred in the north, and the hatred in the south, and the hatred in the west. Nobody hate nobody, because when his government, the PNM administration, implemented property tax, and Klangenberg said, if you don't pay property tax, you will be charged $5,000 as a criminal offense. Who was hating back then, Penny? Whether you're hating or you are hating, whether you're liking or you're loving, you had to pay property tax. Otherwise, you would have been charged under his or all your party. So when you want to talk about race, and you want to talk about hate, and you now want to talk about country to govern, what you should have done, Penny, as a leader of the PNM party, Marcel, trust me, in a political party, when Kamala won election, 2010 to 2015, and any member of her parliament, of her administration in parliament did foolishness or act of criminal activity, she fired them one time. One time, we're not taking that. Don't do nonsense that would discredit the party. Outside you go. He's still in PNM administration. He forgot. He forgot when they talk about hate, and they hate in the north and the east and the west. He forgot that his Minister of Finance told the same citizen who he preaching to while they're clapping, if they didn't pay their property tax, they would be charged on that criminal offense. But he wanted to spread, oh, they hate we in the north and they hate we in the south. And the people sit down clapping for him. The people sit down clapping for him. So that is the mentality of us as our people in Trinidad and Tobago. While I digging out your eye, you see me, how I go see you when I dig out my eye? How are you going to see me? Eh? But you have a knife down in my eye digging it out. I'm going to tell you something in Trinidad and Tobago. You see common sense? Common sense is a serious thing. A serious thing. They're clapping for him. They hate we and they hate we and they hate we. But the same man who ball in their hate if you didn't pay property tax, you would have been charged $5,000 under this man. His colleague. Common sense. Oh, Saieed, you're bashing Doba. Me bashing, I'm telling reality that it's you. I'm telling reality, you could have been going to court now for a criminal offense. But you want to talk about spreading hate and hate and hate. Did he make Beetham Highway safe for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago so that if you shut down, you're safe and nobody is robbing you? Did he do that? They can't like me, you know. They can't like me. You know why? The truth will hurt you. Trinidad and Tobago. Beckles added that as the matter progresses, the party will ensure that it has an appropriate legal team in place. An appropriate legal team. Listen to this video. So we, as a citizen, we need to sit down and we need to understand these ministers and them that we put to lead over us. I want to tell you something. When you vote a party, the party is supposed to make the lives of the citizen better, better, not to bring strain. Not to bring strain among us. So viewers, it's not easy, it's not easy. So listen to this, viewers. Listen to this. Minister of Health, Dr. Lakram Bodo, has confirmed that the Ministry of Health is developing a new program that could allow selected family members to assist in caring for relatives in hospital. The initiatives, it is being developed to support nurses and nursing assistants while improving patient care. Trying to listen to this.
We are yet to name it, but essentially what the program will do is allow patients, will allow families in selected cases to assist nurses and nursing assistants to care for their loved ones. It's not going to be across the board, and it's going to be very carefully selected and regulated.
So viewers,
we are yet to name it, but essentially
the proposed program could also help free up healthcare professionals to perform more specialized duties. Listen to this.
And I asked Corey that in the same council, I'm not sure if you're being consulted yet, but I'm sure the time will come when you will be consulted on this and we'll be asking for your input. And therefore I ask for us to keep a very open mind about this type of intervention. I think it is going to be useful, it's going to be helpful, and it can free up nurses, especially for I don't want to say the more important tasks, but the other tasks that require expertise and so on.
So Trinidad and Tobago, we want to thank you for viewing our program tonight. We have reached to the end of our program, but nevertheless, another night, 7 p.m., we'll be right back here.